Joining us today is Professor Katsoyannis. He's a director of Institute of Sustainable Water Management and Water Law of the European Public Law Organization, and also he's an academic as well. He teaches at the Aristotle University in Greece. He's a full professor there. Good to have you on the show, Yanis. Firstly, how bad is the water scarcity condition globally? Because there are multiple opinions on this nuance, because some people are of the opinion that it's not that big of an issue. Global warming is not that big of an issue because people on the right wing have a different opinion in this regard. But on the other hand, countries like Pakistan or the third world are facing the brunt of it, of water scarcity. So what is your narrative, what is your position regarding the matter of global water security and the water scarcity as well? Do you think it's an alarming issue that has to be addressed?
Yeah, good afternoon. Thank you very much for this invitation. It's a great honor to talk to your show. The first question that you asked me is really very important. I think my view is that the water scarcity issue is really an alarming issue, and that it's affecting at the moment almost half of the world population, with impacts, of course, more severe in countries and populations which are not very well developed, in a sense that they might not have the required infrastructure to have adequate water supply and sanitation.
Yeah.
So at the moment we are seeing severe changes in the water availability. For example, in the Mediterranean region where I come from, we do have extended drought periods, especially during summer, where there are places that do not have available water for addressing the needs of the population, especially when you consider tourist areas where the population in the summer is increasing very, very fast, and many orders. Just to give you a number, which I would say is dramatic,
Yeah.
is that the capital of Greece, Athens, if no measures will be taken by the government, and if no change in the pattern of raining in the next years, Athens, a city of 5 million people, will not have water, enough water after 2 years of now. So
That is
given
alarming
this,
indeed, yeah.
this is really alarming, and I would say that I guess that also in your country and other countries around, this situation will be aggravated in the next years, especially in the dry seasons. And if I'm not wrong, there are there's a lot of irrigation in your countries, your country and neighboring countries, which require big amounts of water. Otherwise, the local economy will be really affected, which means also in the next years, in the next 20 years, I would say there is a danger of population movement to other areas, because if the economy goes bad, and then the people who are working in the agricultural sector will not have any more job, then they will have to leave. So
Exactly.
I think overall it is a very alarming situation, which, however, give me this second to say that it's not only, in my opinion, affected by the climate change, but also because of the population growth. Because imagine if you have an area with less water but much lower population, of course you would need less water.
Yeah.
So population growth plays a huge role as well, and also the fact that we do have concentration of population in mega cities, which require much more water in denser areas. And to bring water from far away is a very expensive issue. So this is why I would say that this problem has a lot of aspects to be seen, and it has to be for sure all governments to take the measures immediately, if not said yesterday. But also global organizations, and I would say also EPLO, who is an international organization, could play a pivotal role in coordinating such actions.
Yeah, as you've said, and very rightly as well, since Pakistan has also been an agrarian economy in the last few decades or so, and we are heavily reliant on the Indus water flowing from the Indian territory to the Pakistani territory. So how do you see the situation, since nobody should have an autonomy on the water resource? It's a shared resource. It's a global resource, basically. So countries that are being treated unjustly when it comes to the water inflows, countries that are on the lower riparian side, like Pakistan in this regard, what protections do they have in the legal system, in the international system? Is it a self-help system, or are there protections in the international covenants of different United Nations organizations? Because if countries like Pakistan or Greece, as you have mentioned, in the couple of years you said that in future it might be a water scarce country, what do you think could give relief to these respective countries when it comes to the international system?
This is a very good question, and I would say this is a difficult question to answer because, of course, there are situations that change from time to time.
Yeah.
But let me firstly give you some numbers which are very important, because the issue of transboundary water management is really important, since 60% of the world's fresh water flows through is a transpounder water system. So we have, as you mentioned, mainly rivers, of course also lakes, which are divided between countries. And as you have very well mentioned, of course, lower riparian countries are more vulnerable to these situations, because, of course, the water flows from one country to the lower riparian country,
Yeah.
and it is the second country, let's say, in this situation, is always dependent on the first country decisions. Now, in my opinion, independently of what happens between the countries, water should be a place for cooperation across borders and sectors.
True.
And to generate benefits, including enhancing food security, sustaining healthy livelihoods, ecosystems, helping to address resilience to climate change, and so on. So, in my opinion, water cannot be used as a weapon in order to win a conflict or a situation over another country, but it should be a tool for peace. And this is what the United Nations are saying in all tones. And of course, I would say that although the situation between the country that you are living and the neighboring country of India is, I would say, at the moment, as far as I know, not in the best situation. However, water should be, in my opinion, should be kept out of discussion, as a tool.
Obviously.
Because I would go one step further, and I would say that water should be a stabilizing force and the catalyst for sustainable development.
Exactly.
So what I mean with this is that Pakistan, India, but I would say, let me say that also Greece is a lower riparian country. Greece, North Greece is supplied by water from rivers which are flowing from countries above us, such as Bulgaria, North Macedonia, and we are really depending on the water of these rivers for our agriculture. I guess the same is in Pakistan, as I have read also in the situation that the Indus Water Treaty divides, I would say, correct me if I'm wrong, two river systems, so the tributaries of Indus River, some of which are used by Pakistan, some of the others are used by India.
True.
So, of course, as far as I know, India has set in abeyance the Indus Water Treaty in the last months, obviously because of an incident that happened, and since then the situation is not very calm.
But sorry to cut you here, Yanis, but do you think it's the conflict which is a bone of contention between the two countries, and that is compelling India to proclaim this abrogation of the Indus Water Treaty? Because if they are announcing that we are
I don't really know. Let me not say more on the situation, because I'm not an expert in the situation at the moment which runs. What I can say, however, is two things. As I already said, my opinion is that water should be kept out of the negotiations when there are such conflicts. On the other hand, of course, let me say that imagine if a country is in a war with another country and they are sharing a river for years, then of course it's very difficult to keep treaties. So what I would say is that in case the Indus Water Treaty is at the moment under abeyance by India, and of course, Pakistan is not, of course, happy with this situation. What I would say is that they must really sit on the negotiation table and there must be a clear and unequivocal recommitment to the foundational principles of the treaty.
Yeah, exactly.
And
But
then,
as you have worked on the water law as well, how do you think this should proceed? Because if an upper riparian country decides unilaterally that they want to build dams on the water which is inflowing to the other country that they are a party to, do you think that they should be allowed to do this without the consultation of the suffering party, which is Pakistan in this context?
well, obviously, it's not, if it is not foreseen in the treaty, then I would say that it wouldn't be good for the negotiations, and it wouldn't be good for the situation in the area.
Yeah.
So I wouldn't go for such a situation. What I would go is that to discuss on the issues, but really try to keep water, especially water which is important for the life and the environment of the area and the economy, should be kept out. On the other hand, if the situation, of course, as I said, water should be used for peace. So together with the negotiations, there has to be discussions between the two countries to stop the conflict and lower the tension. So there have to be together two ways of finding a solution.
And apart from that, okay, you may complete, yeah.
But of course, we have United Nations, we have international courts. So if they cannot find a solution, then they should try to have facilitators in this case to find a solution. But in generally speaking, I said already, I wouldn't, as a water scientist, as a person who is really trying to show that the water is a precious thing that should be available for all people, independently of wars, independently of conflicts, independently of maybe financial differences between countries. I would say that water should be for sure given. Especially now that we are going into water scarcity conditions, that the water would be